Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk to you about chronic pain. I want to help you understand that your chronic pain isn't random. There's actually probably a lot that you can do to help your body to reverse whatever chronic pain it is that you're currently experiencing. The way I want to help you see this today is I have a couple of different lenses that we can look at chronic pain through. And I think just by showing you that there is a connection between these different types of chronic pain that you might be experiencing and different problems that might be happening in different organ systems of your body, I think just you having that awareness and being able to connect the dots is going to help you really see that this is actually very often a solvable problem and there's a lot that we can actually do. So you might be a bit like me. If you've clicked this video, you probably have experienced some chronic pain in the past, or you're experiencing chronic pain now. So for me, my chronic pain pattern is I tend to have problems more on the right side of my body. In fact, it's very rare for me to ever have a problem on the left side. It's always the right side of the body. And most of it for me is up here in the shoulder, in the back of the neck, and also onto this side of my head and onto this side of my face. I do have it on both sides, but more on this right side. And for a long time, this was just infuriating. I would think, like, why is my body broken? Why has God done this to me? And why do I have to be in chronic pain? And why do I have to suffer? And whilst I'm not at the point where I've completely reversed this chronic pain, it is so much better. We're talking, I'm maybe at like a 10 or a 20% of what it used to be. It used to be debilitating. I was literally disabled from the amount of pain that I was in. And today I want to share with you a couple of different methodologies, a couple of different lenses that we can look at chronic pain through so that hopefully if we can understand them better, we can find a solution. And I've found a little bit of my solution in every single one of these modalities that I'm going to talk about today. So the best way for me to show you this is actually to do a little presentation. So I'm going to pop up a little thing on the screen. It's a bit crude, you know, I'm really good at health stuff. Like when it comes to health, I'm top tier. I'm not a technical person. I don't know that much about spreadsheets and presentations and stuff. So you're going to have to bear with me, but what it lacks in presentation, it's going to more than make up for in comprehension and understanding, explanation, and eventually results. So do stick with me through this. So this is where we're going to start first of all. This is called foot reflexology. This is a really interesting way of looking at the interconnectedness of the body. So the understanding in foot reflexology is that every part of your foot is connected to a different organ system. I discovered this first of all, when I was experiencing kidney stones. So what this felt like for me is I would actually experience pain in exactly this part of my foot. This part right here, which you can see in this case, the reflexology chart actually kind of mimics the anatomy. So you actually have the kidney here, and then you have this tube, this ureter that comes down to the bladder down here. And this is actually physiologically what happens in your body. You have two kidneys, so you've got one on the left side, one on the right side. Obviously this is swapped. If you have the kidney that has the problem is the right side, you feel it in the right foot. And this is exactly how I felt. I had this pain exactly here. It was this burning pain, and it felt like there was like a spiky stone stuck inside my foot, and I could feel it. And it was literally referring this spiky sensation of a stone stuck inside my kidney. It was referring it down into my foot, and I would feel it exactly here. So this is where I first discovered it. You can also see that there are some other things that really kind of fit the anatomy. So for example, the heart is this part here. And remember, this is the left foot. This is flipped. So this is literally, if you took your physiology, this is where your heart is. It's on the left side. So you see, it's not here on the right foot. You don't have the heart on the right foot at all. You only have it on the left because the heart is one of the organs we only have on the left side of our body. So if you were almost like using this as like a map, like you took your whole abdominal cavity and you kind of put it as a map over your foot, you would see that this is where the heart is. So you can use this to trace where you might be having problems with organs inside of your body. And a lot of the time, if you have any kind of foot problem, it's very much connected to something else that's going on inside of the body. I can give you another really interesting example here. So for a long time, I had a big problem with the fifth metatarsal head. So this is this sort of region here on the thing. And it was on the right, so technically it would have been over here. I would always have problems with this last toe, my pinky toe, but I didn't feel it in the toe. I felt it in the metatarsal head, which is the bit before it. And as I just told you, a lot of my problems are shoulder related. So this part of the metatarsal head of the foot is connected to the right shoulder. And when I learned about this stuff, it just blew my mind. I thought it was honestly absolutely incredible how everything was so connected. Another thing that I experienced with this kidney stone situation that I had, this kind of brings us onto the next one. This is meridians. So this is the idea that there are lines of energy that are governed by different organs through the body. And when I had this kidney stone, I could literally feel exactly how the pain would move down my leg, and it literally followed the bladder and the kidney meridians. I could literally feel it going down my leg, and I could feel this connection in the kidney and also in the bottom of the foot. It was absolutely bizarre. So something that you can do is you can look at these meridians, and if you have pain in a certain area of the body, you could try to understand, does this follow any of these meridian patterns? The best thing that I can tell you with looking at this is this isn't an exact science. This is open to a lot of interpretation, and you just kind of have to take what serves you and discard the rest. So this body meridians one, in my experience, fits really nicely with reflexology. They kind of go hand in hand. And there's another angle that we can look at reflexology, which is through facial reflexology. So this is the idea that, again, there's kind of like this map that maps over the face that's connected to different organ systems inside of the body. And so, for example, where I've had a lot of problems for me have been in my small intestine, and this pattern here, this little pinky pattern here, follows exactly where I have the pain, especially on this right side. So it fits perfectly. You've got gallbladder, which is this bit over here. You've got liver in the middle, and endocrine system on the front of the chin here. If there's any women watching that have had hormonal problems, breakouts, probably always getting them on the chin down here. It's really, really common. So you could also use this to infer other things. If you have a breakout in a certain area of your skin, it can be connected to a certain area of your body struggling. Or if you have a skin rash, for example, and it's in a specific area, it's not random. There's always a very, very specific reason. I can give you another example. The last couple of days, I had a bit of a flare up in my gut. My gut wasn't feeling so good. And for me, I know that some of the things that govern my gut the most is this stomach, spleen, and pancreas area, which is this yellowy gold area. And literally on my skin, I had a very small reaction on the side of my nose, and it was kind of like itching, like prickling before I went to bed. And usually having a symptom like that would drive me crazy. It would give me anxiety, and I wouldn't be able to sleep because I couldn't understand what it meant. But I could literally not only feel that it was here, and I knew that this was connected to what was going on in my gut, I could feel a connection through my body. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but I could literally feel how what was happening in my stomach and in my intestines, in my stomach, spleen, pancreas, was directly connected to this little prickling kind of like rash sensation I could feel developing on the side of my nose. It's bizarre, but it's true. I've correlated this over and over and over again. I've been doing this for literally like nearly 10 years now. There is so much wisdom hidden in your symptoms if you can understand what lens you need to look at them through. So the two that we've looked at so far, well, technically three, we've looked at two different types of reflexology. We've got foot reflexology and face reflexology. And we've also looked at the body meridians chart. So these are three sort of ideas that we can look at. We've got some others that take a bit of a different sort of angle. So let's move on to this. So this one is still kind of connected to this concept of referral. And it's this is more of like a direct referral from the organ where you might be more likely to feel that in the body. So for example, liver and gallbladder, you'll often feel up in the shoulder here. This is super, super common. And for me, this little orange spot down here, I don't feel it as like a pain or anything, but I notice that my back, if you observe my shoulders, my back does this. And I have this like chronic tension that just happens exactly on this little yellow spot right here. My liver and gallbladder ever having a hard time, I have pain and tension here, and my back does this. So it fits perfectly. So you can also use this. Again, it's not a perfect model. It's not a one size fits all. Some things work for some people, some things don't work for others. And sometimes it's context dependent. So it's always going to vary a little bit. But this can be really helpful to understand that your symptoms aren't random. And this can show you a little bit of a referral. Like everybody knows, like this is modern wisdom. If you have a heart attack or you're having a heart problem, everyone knows you feel it down your left arm. No, everybody knows that. Look at the chart. The chart is literally telling you that. So this is, again, kind of tied into this idea of a bit like a reflexology, but this is more of a direct reflexology kind of angle. Then here, we're looking at something that's considered like a myofascial pain syndrome or like trigger points. So the idea here is that there is an interconnectedness through the body, through the fascia. So fascia is like this connective tissue that covers every single organ, every single muscle, every single tissue, every point of your body is coated in fascia. It's like this like web, almost like this spider web that just keeps everything exactly where it's supposed to be. I always wondered when I was a kid, like, because you see pictures of people's digestive systems, maybe I can show you in this one. Like you see like in the tummy area, you see like all of the intestines. And I was always like, why don't they all get like jumbled up like spaghetti and get like all like tangled together and all like get all like blocked up and stuck? And it's because of fascia. Fascia is this like silky like web that holds everything exactly where it's supposed to be. But the thing is, because of this, when we have some tension or a trigger point, so a trigger point is like a knot of muscle. So we're supposed to have these muscle fibers that are like these thin kind of strands of fabric. I'll just make myself a little bit bigger. So it's got these thin strands of fabric. They're supposed to be like this. And what happens in a trigger point is they kind of get like crossed over, kind of like this. And now the muscle fiber doesn't function properly. When it's like this, it's like it can move smoothly and it has good function. When it gets all knotted, the function of the muscle becomes compromised. And when we have a trigger point, we don't just feel pain where the trigger point is. We feel pain where the end of that fascia also connects to. So there are lots of different types of fascia maps that you can look at. I've got one here for you. So this is a very common example, which is like when you have tension in the traps, it can give you like this referral of pain up into the temples and give you almost like this kind of headache. You can even feel it a little bit in the jaw, and it can kind of mimic like a TMJ kind of pain. This can come from tension in the traps. And if you've ever been to a chiropractor or you've done like dry needling or you've seen an osteopath, you probably know this very well, but this is a little bit about how it actually happens. We have another one here, just to give you another example. So you can have the trigger points in the back of the shoulder blade, and the pain isn't actually felt in the back of the shoulder blade. It's felt on the exterior and the front of the arm, and then even down the arm, sometimes even to the fingers. Because again, if you think about what fascia is, it's this connective tissue that's connecting these chains of muscle. And if you think about what your arm does, your arm is connected to your hand, and it basically connects your hand all the way to your torso. So you have fascial links that connect everything down here. So anything you've got going wrong up here can refer pain down here through these lines of fascia. So understanding this can also be really helpful because it can help you try to trace back where the actual cause of the pain is. A lot of people, for example, will experience something like sciatica, which is a pain that you feel at the end of the leg or somewhere down the end of the leg. Very often, the pain is actually caused up near the hips, near the pelvis. And this could be, again, due to trigger points. It's very, very common that you can have trigger points in the glutes or in areas in the lower back. And this is kind of pulling the spine out. You've got this spine here. It's kind of pulling the spine out, and it's pulling on nerves, or again, we have lines of fascia going through our arm, we have lines of fascia going through our legs as well. And I would argue that in the leg, it's an even more complex structure because we actually have the psoas muscle, the hip flexor muscle, which basically connects our whole lower half of our body to our upper half of our body. This is like heavy, heavy machinery. This muscle is very powerful and it's encased in a very, very strong casing of this fascia. So imagine if you had a trigger point in the psoas muscle, for example. You wouldn't necessarily feel it in the psoas. You might feel it in the lower back. You might feel it in the groin. You might even feel it down the leg. It could cause ankle or knee problems. The problem doesn't have to highlight symptoms or pain at the area of dysfunction. It can follow these fascial plates. So it's really important that you understand this because you might constantly be trying to treat your ankle or your knee and your problem's actually in your lower back or in your psoas muscle. So it's really important to understand this interconnectedness, this interconnectivity in the body. Another one here that I think you'll really like, this one is kind of, I've invented this one a bit, but I've found that this has been really, really true for me. And this is using this idea of this facial reflexology, but it's this idea that you can almost like take an organ. So we've got a kidney here, for example. You can literally take the kidney and think about what this looks like, put it over the face like this. So it could fit probably about here. So if you had a problem in the kidney, you might feel it refer onto the face in this kind of pattern. And I've had this multiple times. I can remember the before and after of the kinesiology treatment where I treated my kidneys. I literally had this kidney-shaped feeling over my eye, exactly like we have in this picture here. And after the treatment, and they weren't doing anything in my face. They were literally treating my my kidney, I felt this sensation in my face decrease. It removed. Well, you could take another organ, like for example, the liver. This could fit here. The liver is a bit bigger than the kidney, so maybe it's a bit more like this. So if you have a big radiating headache, and again, this is a flipped image. So this is showing the right side. If you have a headache that fits exactly where the shape of the liver does, so it's like the right eye, the right side of the head, like this, it could be connected to your liver. So it's always important to think about it from this lens. And I've just used two organs here. And the reason I've used these two organs, the kidney and the liver, is these are really important organs. Your kidney is the source of your chi and your jing. It's where all your life force energy comes from. It's where your adrenal glands are based. So if you have adrenal fatigue, you could be tired. And it's also a detoxification organ. And your liver, massive detox organ, really important in clearing all fat soluble toxins, important for digestion. So these are two organs that lots of people tend to have problems with, which is why I've used these. But you could follow this same model for another organ. You could do the stomach, the intestines, the colon. Think about the shape of the colon. It's like this big upside down U shape. So if you have pain that's going, say, from your left jaw all the way up to the top of your head, all the way across and all the way down, and you haven't had a bowel movement for 3 days, maybe it's connected to your colon. It's really about trying to think about it through this lens, because it does provide a lot of really valuable insight. Finally, here we have one more to look at. So this is the idea of metaphysics. This lady here is Yvette Rose, and she wrote this book, Metaphysical Anatomy. If you observe it, you'll notice I got myself a copy right here. This is a really good book. Metaphysics is the idea that your body can be connected to emotional, energetic, psychological aspects, and it has a certain presentation that you can feel in the body. So really easy way to think about this is think about the feeling of heartbreak. I don't know if this has ever happened to you in your life, but if somebody broke up with you or if you lost a loved one, you feel that as a physical sensation inside of your heart. It's so interconnected, and you can read this book and it explains to you what the heart means or what it represents symbolically. I will give you one now that I find very interesting. This is the idea of the right shoulder. So the right shoulder is on the masculine side. The right side of the body is the masculine side of the body because it's governed by the left side of the brain. So the right shoulder is connected to the masculine. This can be connected to responsibility or the burden of work that you feel on you. You can also take something like your lower back. The lower back is connected to feelings of support. Think about people that need like lumbar support. You need support in your lower back. A lot of the time we don't feel supported. We don't feel a sense of support in our relationships, or we don't feel like we have financial support. It can be a lot of different things. The idea of metaphysics is that there are no random symptoms. If you followed all of these other modalities and you haven't been able to make anything fit, it's very possible that there's a metaphysical root cause that needs to be addressed. I know that this has been super, super true for me. Every single one of my physical health problems has had a metaphysical root, and I read the book and it blew my mind every single time. That's why I'm recommending this book as a resource specifically. If you do have like a lot of different pains or you have lots of different chronic health problems, maybe you've been doing this if you've been working on a chronic health problem for at least a year, this book is a really good investment. It's like £50, €50, $50. It's a little bit expensive, but you can see it's like an encyclopedia. It does require a bit of creative thinking, and you do have to have an open mind. But if you've watched to this point in the video and you're still watching, you're probably open-minded enough to be able to reap the benefits of understanding whatever's going on in your body through the lens of metaphysics. So that's everything for me today. I hope you found this really interesting and helpful. And I do hope that if you are experiencing any chronic pain, that you do find some relief soon. I know what it's like to finally get some relief from chronic pain you've been experiencing for a really long period of time. And I can tell you that if you keep trying to treat it in a conventional way and you're not understanding the cause of why the pain is there, it's going to be a very prolonged recovery and you might never find the solution to it. So I really want to educate and inform and give you all these different angles and different lenses that you can look at chronic pain through, so that hopefully you can find some pain relief, because being in chronic pain is absolutely horrible, spoken as somebody that has experienced a lot of chronic pain in their life. So I hope this provides a practical approach and solution to you finding some resolution to any chronic pain that you might be experiencing. And if you know somebody that is always complaining, oh, my back, oh, my leg, whoever it is, send them this video. Maybe they won't be open or receptive to it, but that's up to them. best you can do is share this knowledge, share this insight with them, and then that's up to them. If they want to resolve their chronic pain, if they're ready to heal their chronic pain, maybe they'll watch the video. And if not, then at least you've helped me out. You've maybe got me one extra view. You've put a smile on my face. And I really, really appreciate it. So that's everything from me today. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.